Hey guys, well, we got a little bit more work done here on the Camaro. We've actually got this thing ready to run and move. So we got the brakes all hooked up and bled, and they appear to be working well. We've also gone ahead and gotten everything hooked up here. So as you can see, we've got the gas tank in place. It still needs to be strapped down, but it is in place and hooked up. We've got the fuel pump, the inline fuel pump and filter there. Just got that zip tied to the cage. That way it's still a little bit loose and not super solid, but it it's mostly in place. Just so that way if things decide to move around or whatever in the derby, it's not going to crack open and be shooting fuel everywhere or whatever. It's just all for precaution. If you lock things in really tight, sometimes you have problems, just from personal experience. So that's what we've chosen to do. Also, then, because we're running a rubber line, we ran a pipe here. This is just out of our old Suburban, and ran that from through the firewall, as well as all the way back here to the cage. Drilled some holes in the one bottom part, so that way I could zip tie that as well to the cage. And I got the wires just running along there for the fuel pump. Just got those zip tied on too to keep them in place and off the floor. Again, just another thing I like to do to keep that stuff as away from the sharp metal, sharp edges as possible. One loose wire can really just ruin your night. So just another little thing. And man, zip ties, zip ties, zip ties. I love those things. They're plastic, they're cheap, and you get a big pack of them from like a Harbor Freight or something for like $2. So anyways, I just like them, use them up, and just helps keep everything intact and in place and out of the way. It's worked out well. Went ahead and made a new switch panel here with some aluminum that we had just floating around the shop. So it's just a simple on-off switch for the coil, push button for the starter, and then the last one is for the fuel pump. So, and the fuel pump and the coil both have indicator lights that will come on. They were just ones I already had in the shop as well, so we just reused those. The only thing I did need to buy new was the new starter switch, so I picked one of those up. There's a couple bucks, so that way I know that one's good. And I do need to label the fuel pump as per the rules. That needs to be clearly marked, and the reason being that if you have a fire or something and you have to quickly run out of the car and you forget to turn it off, that way the fire department and whoever is the safety crew actually knows how to shut the thing off. So that's what we've got going on. We started doing a little bit of body work here on the trunk. Just had my daughter come out, she wanted to hit it, so I let her hit away with the sledgehammer a little bit. Haven't moved it too much. Obviously I'm going to keep on going and making that even lower, but that is now there in place, welded. And now we're going through the process of actually bending it into shape. We're going to crease the fenders here next. It's one of the next things coming up, as well as the trunk, so a lot of body work in our future. Again, just showing the same thing we showed on the other side here from a different angle. I got the battery box mounted there, bolted down. And then also I did put metal on the bottom of that, so that way it's a little more firmly mounted. But the plastic is nice because it keeps all a lot of the water, mud, and everything else out of it. And per our rules, they need to be covered with some kind of something non-flammable. And so this way the plastic just works really easy. It's easy to move around from vehicle to vehicle. So we've gone and done that. Cleaned up the wiring. Got that all mounted, cleaned up, zip tied together, and it's pretty cleanly laid out. I do want to do a few more things at the firewall where the wiring comes through. You can kind of see it all goes through there. But just a little more protection. We'll probably use some sheet metal and actually plug the thing up. What else have we done? You can see we got the hood mounted. Gone ahead and done that. We cut the hole in for the engine. I'll show you what we did on the hood. As you can see, we've got bolts going through. We're allowed, per the rules, 8 bolts in the hood. So I just chose to do 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and just 1 on each side. You'll see why in a second. Also went ahead and just made some basic covers to cover the headers. The ones that were on it were not matching and didn't look really good. And this way, these will be easy for transport. went ahead and just made those up with some material I had sitting around the shop, and then threw some high temp paint on them just to make them look a little bit better. We also went ahead and got another air cleaner on it. Just picked that thing up pretty cheap, and I don't know, we're just playing around with it. I bought an extra filter for it and threw it on there. Just makes it look a little more cool. I don't know. We might change it up and just go to the short stack, but it's just fun to do that kind of stuff when why not, you know? Alright, sorry for the shaking. Trying to open the hood here with just one hand. It does still have the spring shock absorbers on it to help it open. So until this thing's ready to run the derby, we'll leave that on just to make life easy. So yeah, I'll show you. How about I just show you the hood here real quick. So what we did here was first we measured what we needed to do. We cut both the sides, and then we cut down the middle, kind of about like a 1/3 towards that side and 2/3 this way. And as you can see, what we did was we actually then took the outer skin and folded it in. So we took the angle grinder, first cut the webbing out of the middle where the hole was going to be, and then we cut the skin out. You know, we cut that per what I just told you guys. We folded it in, and then we bolted that through the out. So a little tip on how we like to do our hoods when the rules allow to do something like that. And then obviously the bolts were just strategically placed from there. We've also gone ahead and we're allowed to put a screen on the front of our core support. So we went ahead and did that with some material that we had from the orange Camaro. And then I went ahead and put the cross bracings back on the front. We did remove the piece that held the latch for the hood and all that. We took that out so that way that's not in the way and could puncture it. But this kind of stiffens it up. Next here we're also going to be finishing putting all thread through the core support. We're allowed to do that per the rules, and I contacted the promoter just to make sure that all was good. So we're going to work on putting the all thread through the core support, as well as we've cut the crush boxes off the front here, at least shorten them up quite a bit, and we're going to then weld the bumper on as well. So I still haven't figured out exactly which bumper I'm going to use. I got two in my arsenal that I'm going to choose from. The aluminum one that we've ran on other things is not going to be run on this car. I just think it's going to be too much point for this front end to handle, so we're going to choose to use something a little bit more flat. So see what we choose from there, but we're also allowed to make our own bumper shocks because this one did not have bumper shocks per the stock car. So we're going to make our own and also weld that in place too. So there you go, guys. Everything seems to be there and ready to run. And so I hope that the next video will actually be of this thing starting up and running for the first time this season. So stay tuned for that video coming soon. So until the next video, we'll talk to you later, guys.